Hey, what is up, dudes and dudettes? This is Due Diligence here, and today we're gonna talk about ticker symbol MMAT. As we predicted on Thursday night when we posted a video about Friday, we said that most likely the stock's gonna be closed under $5 to squash out the $5 call options. But hey, guess what? By the time around the middle of the market, you will see around the middle of the market closes at 4, right? And then around 12 o'clock, which is the middle of the market, we see a very interesting volume pull up. And you go and look at the option chain, we see a lot of people start buying $5 calls on the October expiration. This is why on Patreon, so sorry guys. On Friday I took a nap. Especially on Patreon Discord chat, I said, hey guys, it might be a very interesting, play to start buying $5 call options on October. I don't really see this to have a very long pull up, but because of this FOMO action, all of the $5 call by the end of Friday is gonna be profitable, which is also true. This is why a lot of times on Patreon and especially and even on YouTube channel, we stress about, hey guys, like most of the times our our predictions or our assumptions of where the market is going is usually holds true, right? But at the same time, sometimes when sort of market condition changes and when a lot of people coming in, when fresh money pulling in, especially on call options, even on a monthly basis, you will see a pull up of the stock price. And it pull up to about 5.18, which is the line that we drew a couple of days ago when we already have. You see this dotted line here? We drew this. This dotted line holds for basically the break-even point for spreads for October. So this price action makes sense. And we were gonna talk about even if the stock price sort of stabilizes 4.99, 4.96 by the end of the market, and which it didn't, right? If it did, then Monday at least will go to $5.18. But right now, due to there are a lot of people who start following a bunch of these October call options, we already sort of predated our pull up on Monday, and we have a sort of like an access volume buying in by the end of the market. People buying $5, $6 calls, and you have people actually buying shares to hold them. So there are two possibilities why there are a lot of shares gotten bought. One is market makers are actively sort of hedging their position, which is called basically early gamma hedging before before the middle of next monthly expiration, or it could just be retail buying. At this point, we don't know. But we do know is institutions are actually contracting their positions in MMAT, especially for a lot of those, I trust funds and a lot of those small cap sort of index funds, which I don't really know the reason for why that is, or we might find out later. But it seems like this stock is sort of attracting more and more retail traction than institutional traction. We see a lot of hedge funds coming in sort of last minute, and then they sort of do a pull up and they do like a intraday or like a interday sort of trade, but it seems like they're contracting their overall long-term position, which I think is pretty interesting. Right now, let's just suppose that right now we can probably do the valuation for MMAT, consider all the nanotech security, acquisition and everything. This stock probably real value was about $3.8 to 4.2 ish. This is explain a lot of $3 calls are getting exercised at a very ridiculous price. I think those people who are doing that are either hedge funds or retail money that have a lot of money to pay the premium for. That means all of these people think that the stock, realistically, the fair value of the stock should be around $5.5. And if you go on the SEC website, you will see that there is notice of effectiveness coming in right just last week, which means by the end of Friday, that means the S8, the S3, the amended 8K, they didn't amend the 10K, they probably should. All of the amended document taking effect. That means you have the 30 million shares of employee benefit plan, which is, on Patreon, we might or might not talk about it. There's some very interesting clauses in there. Let's talk about my pen out. And if you're a real investor, right, when you're calculating all these things, like $30 million in employee pool, which means it's basically And generally speaking, it's dilution if it is granted in a period of time, which a lot of huge market trading is doing. But I think the way how GP is doing it, or the MetaMaterial is doing it, they're trying to tell the investor that those are not the granted shares are not dilution. Okay, let's just make it that way. Whatever he says on Twitter, everybody believe him. That then let's just we don't care about whether anything that he put out is true or if he did this wrong, did this right or whatever. Right now, our channel and our YouTube channel and our Patreon, we certainly just want to make some money. I mean, we did, right? Our Patreon portfolio made almost 150% if everybody just keep doing all these normal plays, and including like 70% or 80% of the we call gamble plays on our Patreon. And usually the average return on all of those plays this week and the past week is about 57%. And then we have some of them going over to 144% to 133%. So it's a pretty good week for our Patreon members. And as for MMAT, a lot of them already exited on either break even or either made like couple of like I don't know 50 cents or 20% depending on their situation. And by utilizing a lot of option plays, they're making more than the market should. Because of the leverage effect. So because a lot of people watching our channel just hate us talking about like a lot of the real and honest shit, so we're just gonna talk about what the entire market is gonna think about this employee plan, right? So 30 million shares, you have 179 million shares outstanding. Let's do 180. So this is about 10%. So realistically, if everybody's rational, then we'll probably see a 10% pull down by this. But because everybody's irrational, and because of a lot of things that GP is saying on StockWits, so with that logic, we will see a pull up from $5, about 10%, a 10% pull up, a 10% upside on MMAT for the next week. So 5.5 is the number that you're looking for. So if you hop in Discord early or whatever, when I talk about MMAT is gonna have a gap up on Monday, I did talk about that on Discord, and a lot of people are being shocked and disbelieve, because I talk good stuff of MMAT. I mean, honestly, I'm just trying to be honest about it. If there's good news, I will talk about it. If it's bad news, I will talk about it, right? That's basically what it is. And then pick up the $5 call, then you probably already made about 5% ish on the $5 call. And then if I'm right on Monday, reach up to 5.5 or even higher than that, selling cover calls or just liquidate your $5 call would be a really great interesting choice, right? And again, if you go look at Weibo and you look at a lot of the very interesting indicators like RSI and everything, it seems like RSI is weighing down on a sort of like a sort of like a minute basis, and on a daily basis, it's still on the upper range because it still didn't hit the upper red line I hit it here on the $6.4. The general trend here, right? If you are just a master or you're just prodigy of technical analysis, you will know that this chart, disregard all fundamentals, this chart is telling you that it's actually in an upward trend. But how great the upward trend is, you have to actually do a mathematical regression on the 5 MA, the 15 MA, 20 MA, whatever MA you're using as your prime indicator, right? Because if you look at the 150-day MA, which is at 4.94, which just coincidentally be the butter and bread line I talk about. If it dropped down this line, it will just go, sky hell. It's gonna go hell, right? It's gonna go to hell basically, or just drastically decrease and sort of shift the momentum to the downward side. But right now, it's on top of that. That means last Friday was actually a good buying point, right around the minute when people are covering their the calls that they sold earlier this week. And then right around the point where people are like, oh yeah, like by the end of the market, maybe we can squash those call sellers by the end of the market and start buying all these monthly calls. And then on Monday we probably will see another volume increase. If there actually is another volume increase, then the 10% gain is totally obtainable. And for those of you on Patreon, I might do a sort of like a live sort of thing to form a trading plan for you guys. Just in case something like that happens. Or it could be, pull back down to 4.9-ish, then you just do the $5 call play, rinse and repeat. And you can also do some safety puts and safety calls depending on how big of a bet you're willing to buy, to bet, right? And again, October and late September, there's not going to be huge news coming out. We're essentially waiting for the Q3 report. And in the Q3 report, we can get clarity on the $100 million. And I said, it's missing. Basically, it's whether all of these shares are still parked at the offerings facility or not, or they might be doing some amendment on their 10K or 10Q or whatever from previous years, and that we anticipate there's going to be a revenue drawdown because transition from IFRS to GAAP is really going to hurt this company in general. Technically, they're still in a startup phase. I don't understand why they're still in a startup phase after 10 years of development. Their actual market product is still the goggles, which only makes like minuscule returns. And then they're literally their biggest contractual partners right now is ending a contract with them. So they're actually at the pivot point or the pinnacle point where they have to land bigger contracts to continue their growth, quote unquote. And if you go on their look at their competitors, this is just one of them. MetaWave is one of the companies that I look at. I hope they would go public later on. And also, I really like Key Meta's business model, and they sort of are operating in a key vertical here with Meta. Consider GP is talking about these antenna plays that they're making, autonomous cars, sort of like a LiDAR and LiDAR protection. So basically, this is in their vertical. And then this company got some really good connections in Silicon Valley. And this company is actually backed by Giacomo, which is the company that Meta claimed that they have a partnership with. And again, with all of these OEMs, with all of those like 5G rollout companies, they have a lot of options. They have billions of dollars to burn. So they can literally invest in different companies. They invest in a bunch of like startups that have, antenna capability or not just invisible antenna capability. They have like some antenna enhancement technology, antenna extension, right? Like one of the problems with 5G is about direct transmission and the objects in between two antennas. And then if you can solve that problem, then you solve the entire 5G rollout problem, right? There are a lot of startups have different ideas and different solutions for that. And me and number two actually live in the Silicon Valley. So then we actually are actively investing, actively doing research, actively making friends who are doing a lot of those research. And then we sort of know the industry. So at this point for Meta, it really is trying to find their source OEMs, trying to find actual breakthrough patents that people are willing to transition to is their problem. And I don't see that problem getting solved anytime soon, especially with how GP is managing the company. But that does not, we repeat it again, that does not affect us from buying or selling their stocks or playing options with their stock, because the whole point of having a stock channel and sort of investing in stocks is to make money anyways. So yeah, for those haters, you can hate. For all of you who turn around and start doing Patreon stuff, good for you. Average return super high if you actually look at all these notifications. And I think I'm starting to steering a lot of people around and start playing with options and making less risky plays on options, and sort of restructuring your portfolio in a more sustainable way, not just pump and dump stock, not just penny stocks. We actually want stability on a monthly basis. We also want stability on a semi-annual basis. Maybe we want some volatility on a weekly basis, but at the end of the day, we really want to see that P&L, the P value goes up. Okay, and then at the end of this video, we're going to evaluate some option chains. Again, around $4, $5 calls about 0.75, and you probably already made about $8 per contract on maybe around 5 to 10% ish depending on your buying point. And as I stated before in this video, we see a 10% upside on MMAT, and if it ever goes back up to 6.42, then depending on the technical indicator on that day, we might do some selling CCs, or we might even buy a little bit more. Again, like our trading philosophy is a little bit different from a lot of other channels. Same thing with when LAC is at almost all-time high, we actually added, And hey, fingers crossed, it actually did went up yesterday, and we also made a quick profit from that. But again, our channel, our Patreon members, our maybe Discord members, we do hold a lot of long-term positions in a lot of like the key factors or the key ingredients for future. So yeah, if you want a lot of those, please keep tuned. On Patreon, link is down below, and on YouTube, you guys might just have a little bit of a delayed information there. Probably cannot capitalize on a very short-term return on, but you know, in a long-term spectrum, it's really great that you guys are on our YouTube channel. All right, this is for this video. There's gonna be other videos coming out. See you guys on the upside.